Have you ever looked in the mirror and realized the person staring back is a stranger? Not because you've changed for the better, but because somewhere along the way, you've been shaped by everyone else's expectations but your own. Have you ever felt like you were living on autopilot, going through the motions, smiling when you want to scream, agreeing when you want to stand your ground, while your real self is buried under layers of noise, fear, and compromise? And have you ever wondered what would happen if you stopped playing that role? If you burned down the life that no longer fits you, and rebuilt from the ashes, not with permission, not with approval, but with the fire of your own conviction. This is not about running away. It's about tearing away the skin of an old identity that no longer serves you. It's about the brutal and beautiful truth that transformation begins in solitude. Because the old you, the one built to please others, cannot survive in the same space where the real you is meant to thrive. Today, we're going to go deep into the Stoic truth. Marcus Aurelius understood that you cannot build an empire of the mind if the foundation is rotten. We will strip away illusions. We will face the discomfort of isolation. We will learn how to destroy the false self, not with rage, but with the stillness of someone who knows exactly who they must become. This journey is not for the faint-hearted, but if you're here, it means you're ready. Not just to hear the words, but to feel them, to walk through the fire, and come out the other side untouched by the flames. So let's begin. Destroying the old self. The first truth you must accept is this: you cannot rebuild while clinging to the ruins. You cannot step into the next chapter if your hands are still gripping the pages of the last one. The old you may have been polite, agreeable, liked by many, but let's be honest. How much of that person was real? And how much was performance? How many times did you bite your tongue because you feared rejection? How many dreams did you bury because they didn't fit the script handed to you by family, friends, or society? To destroy the old self is not about becoming cruel or unrecognizable. It is about refusing to be defined by versions of you that were built out of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of abandonment, fear of standing alone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." Most people never truly begin to live because they never dismantle the false self. They carry it like a coffin, heavy, silent, burying their spirit inside. You will have to unlearn much of what you've been told. You will have to strip away habits, beliefs, and even relationships that exist only to feed the weaker version of you. This will not feel comfortable. Comfort is the drug that keeps the old you alive. Discomfort is the blade that will set you free. There will be moments when you question yourself, nights when you wonder if you've made a mistake, when the silence of walking alone feels unbearable. And in those moments, you must remember silence is not emptiness. It is space, space to think, to breathe, to build. Think of a sculptor standing before a block of stone. To reveal the masterpiece, he must chip away, piece by piece. The stone may resist, the air may fill with dust, but the vision of what lies beneath guides every strike. That is your task now, to carve away everything that is not truly you. So ask yourself, who is the old you that must die? Is it the version of you that says yes to everyone but yourself? The version that keeps the peace while destroying your own? The version that is afraid to stand still in the storm because it might expose how small you've been living? The world will not clap for you while you do this work. It may even mock you, because the old you is predictable, and predictable people are easier to control. But when you no longer respond in the same ways, when you no longer play your assigned role, those who benefited from the old you will feel the loss, and they will resist. They will tempt you to slip back into the old skin. You must not, because every time you return to who you were, you kill a part of who you could be. This is the season of destruction, and destruction, in the Stoic mind, is not chaos, it is renewal. A forest fire is devastating, but it clears the land for new growth. So too must you clear your life for the person you are meant to become. And when the dust settles, when the noise fades, you will see the truth. That the old you was not your home, it was your cage. The art of rebuilding. You've burned the bridge to the old you. The ashes are still warm. And now, you stand at the edge of an open field. It's quiet here, almost too quiet. This is the part where most people panic. They run back to the familiar, even if it hurt them, because the unknown feels like standing barefoot on sharp stone. But here is where the Stoic mind finds strength, because this silence is not a void. It is fertile ground, and in this ground, you will plant with intention. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." This is where you choose the colors, the habits, the values, the disciplines that will define the new you. Rebuilding is not about pretending to be someone else. It is about becoming the most unshakable version of yourself. If destruction is the fire, rebuilding is the forge, the place where raw metal is, shaped into a blade, and you are the blacksmith. You begin by setting standards, not the kind you post on social media to impress strangers, the kind you live by quietly, when no one is watching. What will you accept? What will you refuse? What principles are non-negotiable? No matter the cost. Every great life is built on standards. Without them, you will drift back into the tides of the old self. With them, you create a shoreline that nothing can wash away. Do not rush this. The new you must be crafted slowly. The temptation will be to fill your calendar, your relationships, your routines, just so you feel like you're moving forward. But movement without direction is just running in circles instead. Start with the daily disciplines that sharpen the mind and harden the spirit. Rise early, not because it's fashionable, but because the morning is when the world is quiet enough for you to think. Train your body, not to look good for others, but to build resilience you can depend on when life strikes. Feed your mind, not with noise, but with words and ideas that challenge you to grow. Rebuilding is not a project. It's a covenant, a promise to yourself that you will not betray again. And here's the truth. The new you will not be universally loved. In fact, you may lose more people in rebuilding than you did in destruction. Because the moment you start living with intention, you become a mirror to those still living by default. Some will be inspired, others will feel threatened. Neither reaction should guide you. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to be unshakable. The Stoics understood that rebuilding the self is not about adding more. It's about adding what is essential. Every habit you take on, every commitment you accept should pass through the filter. Does this strengthen my peace, my discipline, my courage? If not, it's a distraction, and distractions are just softer cages. So rebuild with patience, rebuild with precision, rebuild with the awareness that the person you are becoming is worth the loneliness, the quiet, and the slow work, because when the new self stands, rooted like a mountain, there will be no storm that can unmake you. The tests that will come. You've rebuilt your walls. You've sharpened your sword. And now, you think you're ready. But life has a way of checking your work. It will not test you when you expect it. It will come quietly, sometimes disguised as opportunity, sometimes disguised as insult. The Stoics knew virtue means nothing until it's tested. A calm mind in a quiet room is not wisdom. It's comfort. Wisdom is when you keep that calm, while someone tries to set fire to your peace. Your first test will often be temptation, the return of the old patterns. The message from the person you swore you'd never answer. The offer that looks easy, but smells like the shortcuts you left behind. This is where most people stumble, not because they lack willpower, but because they forget why they started. The old life will not die quietly. It will knock at your door wearing its most familiar smile. When that happens, pause, breathe, and remember, every yes to the old you is a no to the new you. The second test will be conflict, not the screaming, public kind, but the subtle, private ones. The moments when someone questions your integrity, or mocks your discipline, or tries to bait you into proving yourself. Here, you will remember Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. You will hold your ground in silence, not because you are weak, but because you are unshakable. The third test will be loss. It may be a person, a job, an opportunity you thought was yours. Loss will ask you, was your peace built on things outside your control? If it was, you will crumble. If it wasn't, you will grieve without breaking. This is the true proof of your rebuild. That the foundation of the new you is not external approval, but internal. Discipline, tests will keep coming. Not to break you, but to refine you. The blacksmith does not strike metal to destroy it, but to shape it into something sharper. Each time you pass a test, you acquire a mind, and a quieter mind is the most dangerous thing in a loud world. The discipline of walking alone. There comes a point, after the rebuilding, after the tests, where you will realize something quietly devastating. You are further ahead than most people around you. Not because you are better, but because you refused to stay where you were. And now, there is distance. It's not visible like a mountain range, but you feel it. Conversations don't land the same. Small talk feels smaller. The old circle doesn't laugh at the same jokes, and the new circles don't know your old scars. This is the discipline of walking alone. It is one thing to leave the old you behind. It is another to keep walking when no one walks beside. You most will turn back, not because the path is wrong, but because solitude feels heavier than failure. The Stoics knew this weight. Seneca wrote of the man who enjoys his own company as a man who is truly free. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Walking alone means saying no, over and over, to invitations that cost your peace. It means resisting the pull to return just so you won't be misunderstood. It means living in such alignment that you can sleep at night without needing to justify your day. But here's the paradox. Walk alone long enough, and you will attract others who walk the same way, not by chasing them, but by living so fully in your lane that your presence becomes a beacon. Until then, you walk, not because you have no one, but because you have yourself. And if you have yourself, you are never truly alone. This is the slow burn of transformation, the part no one posts on social media, the months or years between the decision and the visible reward. It is here that the new you is forged into permanence. The world will notice. At first, no one sees it. Your transformation is quiet, internal, hidden beneath the same skin they've always known. You still show up at the same doorways, wear the same clothes, speak with the same voice. And because of that, most will think nothing has changed. But inside, you know, your thoughts no longer pull you into the same spirals. Your mornings begin with intention, not reaction. Your choices come from clarity, not impulse. Then, It begins the subtle shift. Someone looks at you a moment longer during a conversation, an old friend pauses, trying to name what's different but can't. A colleague starts differing to your opinion in meetings, though you said less than before. It is the paradox of deep work. The less you try to be seen, the more visible you become. Because energy is not a thing you can fake. Calm radiates, centeredness draws attention. Discipline leaves a scent in the air like cedarwood. It lingers after you leave the room. The world notices, not because you announce it, but because you embody it. And here lies the danger. Once recognition comes, ego wants to step forward again. It wants to take credit, wants to prove itself, wants to bask in the applause. But this is when you remember, you didn't destroy the old you for a praise. You didn't rebuild yourself to win followers. You did it because living misaligned was slowly killing you. The attention, both good and bad, becomes another test. Some will admire you, some will resent you, some will try to pull you back into their level, because your rise reminds them of their stagnation, and so you protect your mind, you guard your silence. You stay humble, not because you doubt your strength, but because you know it needs no defense. When the world notices, you do not explain, you nod, you keep walking, because the transformation was never for them, it was for you. Returning to the battlefield, you didn't rebuild yourself to hide in a temple. You didn't sharpen your mind only to keep it sheathed. The work was never meant to pull you away from the world. It was to prepare you for it. Life will always have its battlefield. Not the kind with swords and shields, but the kind with backhanded comments, deadlines, betrayals, and the quiet moments when no one sees you fighting to keep your center. The old you would walk into this chaos without armor, absorbing every blow, every insult, every piece of doubt thrown your way. But the new you walks differently, not with arrogance, but with unshakable presence. You have seen your own breaking point and learned to rebuild. Now you step forward not fearing the storm, but understanding it. Imagine walking into a room where tension is thick, to co-workers at war, a client ready to explode, someone's voice rising. Before, you join the noise, trying to match energy with energy. Now, you stand still. You breathe. You let the moment bend round you instead of letting it break you. That is the battlefield, not the drama itself, but your choice to not be consumed by it. The discipline to speak only when the words add clarity, not fuel. And here's the truth, they will test you. The world cannot resist poking at someone who refuses to be reactive. They'll throw jabs, hoping to crack the surface. They'll misinterpret your silence as weakness. But that's when you remember, your silence isn't the absence of strength. It's the proof of it. You carry the battlefield inside you now. And that means no matter where you stand, You're already in command. When the old world calls you back, it always happens just when you think you've stepped into a new chapter. Something, someone, comes knocking from the past. The old world doesn't like to lose its grip. It whispers in familiar voices, that ex who just wants to talk, that friend who loved the version of you that stayed small, that job offer wrapped in gold but lined with chains. It's tempting, because the old world feels like a worn out coat. It doesn't fit anymore, but it's comfortable. You remember the warmth, the way it draped over your shoulders, the way it made you feel safe, even though it also kept you from growing. You rebuilt yourself for a reason. You didn't go through nights of doubt, hours of discipline, and moments of aching loneliness just to walk back into the very cage you escaped. But here's the tricky part. The old world won't show up looking like a trap. It will show up looking like an opportunity, a reconnection, a harmless one last time. That's why you need the clarity you forged in solitude. It's not enough to say I've changed. You must live it when the temptation returns. Picture this. You're invited to a gathering where you know the energy is toxic. The old you would go anyway, out of fear of missing out or the need to please. The new you pauses, checks in with your values, and realizes peace is worth more than presence. So you stay home. You choose quiet over chaos, and in that choice, you win again. Every time you refuse to step back into the old world, you strengthen the foundation of the new one. The cost of rebuilding yourself, isn't just about what you gain. It's also about what you must give up and what you must endure. The cost isn't paid in coins. It's paid in moments where you feel like you're losing everything. You once knew friends will drift away, not because you wronged them, but because your growth threatens their comfort. Opportunities will vanish, not because you failed, but because they no longer align with your becoming. And sometimes, you'll wake up wondering if you've made a mistake. That's the tax of transformation. It demands that you sacrifice the familiar in exchange for the unknown. It asks you to trust a version of yourself you haven't fully met yet. Imagine tearing down an old house. It's dusty, exhausting, and sometimes dangerous. You might even find rotting beams or termites in the walls, but you have to keep dismantling. Because the only way to build something solid is to start with a clean foundation. The same is true for you. Rebuilding means stripping away old habits, false identities, and outdated beliefs. It means saying goodbye to comfort so you can say hello to freedom. And here's the truth. Most people never pay this cost. They patch up the old structure instead. They slap on fresh paint, rearrange the furniture, and pretend it's new. But deep down, they know the foundation is still cracked. You're different. You're willing to feel the loss now so you can stand on something unshakable later. This isn't just about becoming stronger. It's about becoming real. Every brick you lay in your rebuilt self will be tested. Every decision will ask you, do you want your old life? Or do you want the one you fought for? The cost is high, but the reward is priceless. Waking up one day and realizing you are no longer at war with yourself. The loneliness of transformation. When you decide to destroy the old you and rebuild, you will step into a silence you've never truly met before. It's not the peaceful silence of a calm morning. It's the deep, echoing stillness that follows you into every room, lingering in the air like smoke. At first, it feels unnatural. You catch yourself reaching for your phone, expecting messages, expecting someone to ask where you've been. The group chats you once laughed in carry on without you. The people you thought were permanent fixtures in your life seem to fade into the background, voices growing fainter by the day. And here's the truth. This loneliness is no accident. It's not the universe forgetting you. It's part of the transformation itself. When you shift your life so drastically, you no longer vibrate on the same frequency as the people who once anchored you. Some won't understand your quiet. Some will assume you're avoiding them. Some will think you've changed in a way that feels like betrayal. And some, though they may never say it, will resent you for leaving behind the old patterns you used to share. And in those moments, you will feel the temptation to go back, to fill the space again with familiar noise, to pretend you can transform without losing anything. But here's the thing, this space, this emptiness, it's not a punishment, it's a purification. It's the silence you need to finally hear your own voice without distortion. It's the open field where you learn to stand alone without leaning on the crowd. Think of the blacksmith shaping a blade. He doesn't leave the steel lying around for everyone to touch. He places it in the fire, alone, until it's strong enough to cut. That's you. This season of solitude is your forge. Yes, it stings. Yes, it's isolating. But every day you stay in it, you're being sharpened. Every day you refuse to fill it with old distractions, you're becoming unshakable. And one day, you'll step out of that silence carrying a presence so strong it speaks without a sound. And the ones who are meant to walk with you will find you there, not to pull you back, but to walk forward with you. Because in the end, the loneliness of transformation is not a void. It's the doorway, and the key to stepping through it is to keep walking when everything in you wants to turn back. The temptation to go back, it happens quietly, not with a loud bang, but with a soft whisper that catches you when you least expect. When you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're questioning if all this rebuilding is even worth it, the old life will come calling. Not the life you left behind in its full chaos, but the highlight reel version your memory edits together. You'll remember the laughter without the arguments, the comfort without the cost, the familiar warmth without the cold truth that came after. And that's the trap. Because nostalgia is selective. It's a liar that leaves out the pain, the restless nights, the way you used to wake up feeling stuck before your feet even hit the floor. You'll tell yourself, just one conversation won't hurt. Just one night back with the old crowd to see how they're doing. Just one small step into that old rhythm to feel normal again. But here's what I need you to hear. Going back is never just one step. It's the beginning of a chain reaction that will undo weeks, months, even years of progress. Because the old life isn't interested in part of you. It wants all of you. Think about it. If you left a burning building and someone invited you back inside just to check on things, would you go? No. You'd remember the heat, the smoke, the damage, and yet, that's exactly what going back to the old life is. It's stepping back into the fire you barely survived. When the temptation comes, and it will, pause. Not to debate whether you should go back, but to remember why you left. Write it down if you have to. List every reason in detail. Every cut, every scar, every moment you swore never again. And keep this in mind. Sometimes the temptation doesn't even look like the old life. Sometimes it looks like a better version of it. A slightly healthier relationship with the same person who broke you before. A job with a better title but the same soul. Sucking environment. An apology from someone who hasn't actually changed. That's not progress. It's a polished version of the same. Trap. It's a velvet cage. And here's where Stoic resilience matters most. Not in resisting the obvious temptations, but in resisting the ones that come dressed as comfort. Because comfort is seductive. Comfort makes you forget how badly you wanted freedom. Comfort whispers, you've done enough. You can relax now. But the truth, you haven't built the new you just to slip back into the skin of the old one. You've burned too many bridges to run back to the shore you swam away from. And you've crossed too much distance to pretend you're the same person who left. Pull to go back is not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're close. Because the old life only calls when it senses you're almost gone for good. So when that call comes, don't answer. Keep walking. Let the old life echo behind you until the sound fades completely. The tests that come with rebuilding. The thing about rebuilding yourself. No one warns you about the tests, not the small, daily inconveniences, but the big, soul-shaking. Patience, breaking storms that feel almost tailor-made to pull you back into your old ways. It's strange. When you first decide to change, there's a rush. You feel empowered, in control, unstoppable. But then life starts pressing on your weak spots, like it's asking, are you really serious about this? It's in those moments that tests arrive. A sudden expense that wipes out your savings, a betrayal from someone you trusted completely, an opportunity that seems perfect, but demands you compromise the values you just swore to protect. And here's the hard truth. The tests aren't a punishment. They're a filter. They're designed to separate the version of you who talks about change from the version of you who lives it. Think about a blacksmith shaping steel. The fire doesn't destroy the metal. It strengthens it. The hammer doesn't break the blade. It refines it. Your life works the same way. When the test comes, you have two choices. You can see it as proof the universe is against you, or you can see it as the necessary resistance that shapes you into the person you said you wanted to be. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the obstacle becomes the way, that every difficulty is raw material for growth. But here's where most people fail. They think they'll be ready for the big tests when they come. They imagine themselves calm, wise, and shaken. But in reality, your ability to pass those tests is built in the small moments you choose discipline over distraction. When you bite your tongue instead of speaking in anger. When you wake up early to keep a promise to yourself. When you keep going even when no one is watching. These small victories prepare you for the bigger battles, and the bigger battles, they prove whether the change in you is temporary or permanent. But here's something important to remember. The tests will often come in waves. One problem rarely comes alone. It's like life knows that when you're tired and stressed, you're easier to knock down, so it stacks the challenges, one after another, until you're tempted to say forget it and crawl back to what's easy. That's why you need anchors, habits, routines. Mindsets that keep you steady when the current gets strong. For some, it's journaling. For others, it's early morning walks. For me, it's the reminder that storms don't last. But if I quit now, I'll never see the clear sky that comes after. And here's the real win. Once you pass enough tests, you start to trust yourself in a way you never did before. You stop fearing the next challenge. Because you've seen yourself survive worse, you stop asking why me, and start saying try me. Passing the tests isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about proving to yourself that the new you isn't just an idea. It's a reality. The loneliness of the new path. When you decide to rebuild yourself, you're not just changing your habits, you're changing your entire environment. And that means some people who once felt close will suddenly feel far. It's not because you become cold or unkind. It's because growth changes the frequency you live on. The conversations you used to find entertaining now feel empty. The places you used to spend your weekends now drain you. The people who once clapped for you now seem unsettled by your progress. This is the loneliness no one tells you about. The quiet evenings when your phone doesn't light up because the old crowd stopped calling. The awkward pauses when you run into someone from your past and realize you no longer speak the same language. It's not personal. It's just the natural distance that comes when your values shift. But here's the paradox. Loneliness in transformation isn't a curse. It's a cleansing. When the noise fades, you can finally hear your own voice clearly. When the crowd thins, you discover who is truly in your corner. And when the room empties, you realize the person you needed most was yourself all along. The Stoics knew the value of solitude. Seneca called the space where the mind sharpens. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that a man's worth isn't tied to the approval of the masses. Epictetus warned that trying to fit in with those who mock your values is the fastest way to lose yourself. Still, loneliness feels heavy at first. You'll question if you've made a mistake. You'll wonder if you should shrink back, just to be welcomed again. But that's the trap. If you dim your light just to stay comfortable, you end up back where you started. Here's the truth. This loneliness is temporary. Because as you keep walking the new path, you will meet others walking it too. And those connections will be deeper, truer, and more aligned than anything you've known before. Until then, use the space. Fill it with learning, with self, reflection, with the projects you kept putting off when life was too loud. Sit in the quiet long enough, and you'll find it's not empty at all. It's full of potential. So when the loneliness comes, don't run from it. Walk through it. It's not a void. It's the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. The danger of slipping back, rebuilding yourself, is not a straight climb. It's a constant fight against gravity. And the pull of the old you is stronger than you think. At first, you're fired up. You've made the decision to change. You're journaling every morning, reading every night, cutting out distractions, eating with discipline. But then, something happens. A bad day at work, an argument with someone close, a wave of exhaustion, and suddenly, the old habits whisper, "You're a name." It starts small. One skipped workout, one late night binge of mindless scrolling, one "I'll just do it tomorrow." And the dangerous part, it feels harmless at first. You convince yourself that slipping just once doesn't matter, but the old you doesn't come back all at once. It sneaks in piece by piece. The Stoics understood this danger well. Epictetus warned that freedom is lost one compromise at a time. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to guard the mind as fiercely as a fortress. Seneca knew that the habits you let slip are the ones that will undo you. Slipping back isn't about the action itself. It's about what it represents. Because every time you break the promise you made to yourself, you weaken the trust you have in your own word. And when that trust erodes, you stop believing in the new you entirely. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your old self is patient. It will wait for the day you're tired, discouraged, or distracted, and then it will offer comfort, disguised as familiarity. The same friends who drain your energy will call just to hang out. The same distractions you cut out will feel tempting again. The same bad habits will feel like just this once. So, how do you stop yourself from slipping back? First, you make the stakes real. Write down what you stand to lose if you return to the old path, not just in vague ideas, but in vivid, concrete detail. What will your health look like? Your relationships? Your mental state? Remind yourself of the pain you swore you'd never feel again. Second, you keep your environment clean, because no matter how strong your willpower is, you will always sink to the level of your surroundings. If you want to stay sharp, remove what dulls you. If you want to stay disciplined, remove what tempts you. And third, you hold yourself accountable every single day. Don't wait for a motivation to return. Build discipline so it never has to. The Stoics didn't trust feelings, they trusted consistent action. Slipping back is easy, staying the course is hard. But here's the reward. Every time you resist the pull of the old you, you strengthen the foundation of the new you, and over time, those little wins stack into unshakable confidence. This is how you build a self that doesn't just survive change, it protects it. The unexpected cost of transformation. They tell you transformation is beautiful, and it is. They tell you growth is rewarding, and it is. But what they don't tell you is that transformation has a price tag far higher than most are willing to pay. The truth is, when you decide to rebuild yourself, you are not just changing habits, you're changing identity. And that means people, places, and comforts that once fit will start to feel foreign. At first, it's exciting. You feel powerful, like you've unlocked a secret only if you understand. But then comes the ache, the realization that certain friends no longer call you because you no longer mirror their choices. That certain conversations feel shallow because you've outgrown the need for gossip or validation. That certain routines that once brought comfort now feel like chains. The Stoics were no strangers to this loss. Epictetus gave up comfort too. Live in pursuit of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius stood alone in his thinking, even as emperor, because truth mattered more than approval. Seneca wrote of the loneliness that comes with choosing virtue over pleasure. When you commit to transformation, you quietly agree to let go of the version of you that fit neatly into the lives of others. And in doing so, you often no longer fit into the same spaces you once called home. The cost: you may find yourself walking alone more often than not. You may be misunderstood. You may even be resented, because your growth will challenge those who are not ready to change. It can feel like betrayal. Why should bettering yourself mean losing people you care about? But here's the hard truth. Some people were only connected to the old you. They resonated with your struggles, your distractions, your lack of direction. And when you change, you remove the common ground. This isn't cruelty, it's nature. A tree that grows taller no longer shares shade with the same plants it once covered. A river that changes course leaves certain banks dry. But if you stay true, something else happens. Yes, you lose certain relationships, but you gain deeper, more aligned ones. Yes, you shared comforts, but you find greater peace in discipline. Yes, you walk alone at times, but your steps are lighter, because you are carrying only what matters. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. The pain of transformation is not the loss. It's the attachment to what no longer belongs. You must learn to see this cost as proof of your evolution. Because every time you pay it, you buy freedom from the old chains. And what you gain in exchange cannot be measured in gold. The unexpected cost of transformation is the toll you pay to cross the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. And only you can decide if the journey is worth it." The solitude that builds strength. There is a kind of silence that feels heavy, lonely, unbearable. The kind where you look round and realize there's no one to call, no one to lean on, no one who truly understands what you're carrying. Most people run from this silence. They fill it with noise, with crowds, with endless scrolling, anything to drown the stillness. But here's the truth the Stoics understood. Solitude isn't emptiness. It's a forge. It is the fire that burns away the excess until only the purest steel of your character remains. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. Yet he wrote in his journals as if speaking to himself in a quiet room. He understood that in solitude, you confront your own mind without distraction. There's no applause to feed you, no critics to wound you, only you and the mirror of your thoughts. At first, it's uncomfortable. Your mind will try to drag you back into old patterns. It will whisper, "This is boring. This is pointless. You should be with people." But if you resist the urge to escape, you'll notice something shift. In solitude, you hear your true voice, beneath the static of the world. In solitude, you remember what matters, without the distortion of other people's expectations. In solitude, you learn to stand, not because someone's watching, but because you choose to. It's here, in the quiet, that discipline sharpens. It's here that you can train your mind like a warrior, because there are no distractions to weaken the blade. And when you step back into the noise, you carry that strength with you. Solitude is not isolation, it is preparation. A blacksmith does not hammer steel in the middle of a crowded marketplace. He works in the heat and quiet of his forge. In the same way, you cannot craft a strong mind while drowning in the chaos of constant noise. Seneca wrote, "I never spent a day in idleness. I either read or write or reflect, always with myself." He understood that being alone is not wasted time. It is invested time, and the return on that investment is resilience. So, if you find yourself in a season where you walk alone, don't rush to fill it. Don't see it as a punishment. See it as a training ground. Because the man or woman who can stand strong in solitude cannot be broken in a crowd. And when the storms of life come, and they always come, you will not be shaken. Not because you avoided the world, but because you faced yourself. Build a foundation no one else could give you. When the world misunderstands you, there will come a day, if it hasn't already, when you will be judged for what you didn't say, for what you didn't explain, for the road you chose to walk alone. You'll hear the whispers. She's changed. He thinks he's better than us. They're not the same person anymore. They're right. You're not. Growth will always make you unrecognizable to those who knew the old you. It's like stepping out of the shadows and into the light. Those still in the dark will squint, unsure if they can trust what they see. You don't owe them an explanation. Not every chapter of your life is for public consumption. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Notice, he never said, "If they misunderstand you, spend your life convincing them otherwise." The truth is, people will project their fears onto your silence. They'll imagine motives, write their own stories about you, and none of it will have anything to do with the reality you live. You could waste years defending yourself, or you could keep walking. Because the more you explain, the more power you hand away. Every word you offer to justify yourself is another brick laid in a prison built by their opinion. When you stop explaining, you stop letting them define you. Your actions, your discipline, your choices will speak louder than any rebuttal ever could. Think of the tree that grows on the cliffside. It doesn't beg the wind to understand why it leans. It simply keeps reaching for the sun, rooting deeper into the stone, until one day, those who doubted its survival can't imagine the cliff without it. It will sting, being misunderstood, especially by those you once trusted. But the sting fades. Strength remains, and in time, you realize their misunderstanding was never your burden to carry. You didn't come here to be understood. You came here to live, to build, to grow, to become the kind of person who needs no audience for their transformation. Epictetus one. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid, because to those unwilling to grow, your progress will look like arrogance. Your discipline will look like obsession. Your solitude will look like weakness. Let them think what they will. While they're busy talking, you're busy becoming. One day, they'll see the results they couldn't understand taking shape before their eyes. The moment you realize you need no one's permission, there's a shift that happens quietly, sometimes without warning. It doesn't come with a celebration or a headline. It comes on an ordinary day, when you suddenly notice you're moving differently, thinking differently, breathing differently. You've stopped asking, "Is this okay?" You've stopped waiting for someone to nod before you take the next step. That hesitation, the one that kept you on the sidelines, is gone. It's not arrogance. It's ownership of your time, your choices, your direction. Because here's the truth. No one is coming to grant you permission. No one is handing you the keys to your own life. You already have them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." What he didn't have to say was that the quality of your thoughts depends on freeing them from the grip of other people's out. Provo, when you need permission, you wait. And when you wait, you stall. And when you stall, life moves on without you. Look back. How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers, not because you weren't ready, but because you weren't certain? Someone else thought you were ready. That hesitation is a slow death. 1,000 small betrayals to yourself. The day you stop asking for permission, you start living on your own clock. You stop saying, "one day," and start saying, "today." You stop being a passenger and take the wheel. It's not about recklessness. It's about responsibility. Because when you act without waiting for approval, you own every outcome. If it fails, you rebuild. If it works, you keep building. Either way, it's yours. Think of the ancient craftsman, hammering away at stone. No committee stood behind him, approving each strike. He trusted his hands, his eyes, his vision. And over time, that stone became a statue, his name carved into its space. That's how life works. Your vision, your hands, your name. You don't ask for permission to carve. You carve because you were born with the chisel in your grip. From this moment forward, stop waiting for a nod. Stop looking for a green light. The path isn't blocked. It's waiting. And the only gatekeeper has been you. The greatest freedom you'll ever taste is realizing you are the one holding the chains all along. And the greatest act of self-respect is dropping them, walking forward, and never picking them up again. The weight you put down, you don't notice the weight right away. It's not like a boulder that drops on you all at once. It's a slow accumulation, grain by grain, until your shoulders hunch and your steps shorten. The weight is invisible, but it's heavy. It's every resentment you didn't release, every apology you never got, every version of yourself you kept dragging along, long after you'd outgrown it. We're told to be strong by carrying it all, to power through without complaint. But Marcus Aurelius would have disagreed. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself. but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. You can choose to set it down. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. The truth is, strength isn't in the carrying. It's in the releasing. Imagine you're walking a long road with a pack full of stones. Some stones are yours, mistakes you made, lessons you learned. But most, they were slipped into your pack by others. Expectations, grudges, their version of who you're supposed to be. And here's the harsh part. If you don't put them down, no one will take them for you. The world doesn't hand out relief. You have to choose it. One day, you stop. You drop the pack. And the silence that follows is deafening. You realize, without the weight, you can breathe deeper. Your steps are longer. Your eyes lift from the ground. The horizon feels closer in life. You can't walk both far and heavy. You have to pick, so put it down. The bitterness, put it down. The need to explain, put it down. The fear that if you let go, you'll lose yourself, put it down. Because what you lose is not yourself. It's the burden that kept you from meeting yourself fully. From this moment, move forward lighter. Not because the world changed, but because you chose not to carry what isn't yours anymore. The fire that burns clean. There's a fire in you. It's been there since the beginning. Sometimes it's a quiet ember, barely glowing. Other times, it's a raging storm of heat and light. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." He wasn't talking about destruction. He was talking about transformation. Pain comes for all of us. Betrayal, loss, injustice. It piles up like drywood. Most people let it smother them, turning the light inside into smoke and ashes. But you can burn differently. You can feed your pain to the fire, not to destroy you, but to fuel you. Think about it. Every setback you faced, every insult you've endured, every door slammed in your face, can either rot inside you or be burned clean. When it burns, it changes shape. It becomes energy. It becomes fuel. It becomes the force that drives you through the storm. It's not about pretending the pain doesn't exist. It's about refusing to let it define the shape of your soul. The fire that burns clean doesn't cling to what's thrown in. It consumes it, releases the heat, and moves on. No smoke of resentment, no choking bitterness, just warmth, light, motion. People will try to pour water on your fire. They'll tell you to calm down, to accept less, to stop aiming higher. But they don't understand. You're not burning out. You're burning through. When you burn clean, your enemies can't trap you in the ashes of the past. They throw shadows at you and you turn them into light. They throw cold words and you turn them into warmth. The next time life throws you something cruel, Pause and ask yourself, will I let this sit in me and rot? Or will I burn it clean, turn it into motion, turn it into meaning? You are the keeper of your own fire. Tend it well. Feed it with what life hands you. Let it burn everything into fuel, and walk forward, not in smoke, but in light. The art of slowing down. In a world obsessed with speed, you become dangerous when you learn to move slowly. Not lazy, slow. Not stagnant, deliberate. We are told from childhood, run faster, climb quicker. And so immediately, the faster you move, more valuable you must be. But speed without direction is a trap. A fast mistake is still a mistake. It just arrives sooner. The Stoics understood something we've forgotten. They knew that wisdom is born in pauses, not in frantic action. Marcus Aurelius would write in his journal every morning, not to waste time, but to sharpen his mind before the day began. Epictetus taught that a rushed tongue leads to regret, and a hurried decision leads to ruin. Slowing down is an act of rebellion in a culture addicted to urgency. When you slow your steps, you notice the cracks in the road. When you slow your breathing, you feel the tension leave your chest. When you slow your mind, you see the moves no one else is patient enough to see. Think about the last argument you had, the one where words flew like arrows. Did you walk away proud of how fast you shot back? Or did you wish you'd taken a moment? Let the dust settle, chosen words that would stand even in silence. Slowing down doesn't mean missing opportunities. It means choosing the right ones. It means refusing to live as a reflex and starting to live as a response. It means being the chess player, not the pawn. Next time you feel the rush in your chest, stop, breathe, ask, what will happen if I take one more minute, one more day, one more week? Life has a way of revealing the truth to those who wait just long enough to see the full picture. Move too fast, and you'll miss it. Remember, water that flows too quickly can't nourish the roots, but a steady stream, patient, constant, brings life to everything it touches. Slow down, not because you're falling behind, but because you're finally moving in the right direction. The unseen battles, the world sees your smile, but not the nights you held yourself together in the dark. They see your calm, but not the storms you sailed through alone. They see your victories, but not the countless private wars you fought to stand here today. These are the unseen battles, the ones that never make it to headlines or applause. The ones where your only witness was the ceiling above your bed. The ones where your enemy wore your own face in the mirror, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He knew the fiercest fights are fought within, not on the battlefield, not in boardrooms, but in that quiet, relentless corner of the mind where doubt, fear, and temptation try to take root. You've been there the moment you want to quit, but you don't. The moment you want to speak, but you stay silent because wisdom tells you to. The moment you want to retaliate, but you choose to walk away. These are victories no one claps for, but they're the ones that shape you. They're the proof that your strength isn't loud. It's discipline, that your resilience isn't built on being unshaken, but on being able to shake and still stand. The unseen battles make you dangerous because you learn to fight without an audience. You learn to endure without validation. You learn to win without recognition, and here's the truth. When the public storms come, you're ready because you've already fought harder, darker, and lonelier wars in silence. Your unseen battles are your training ground. Every time you wrestle with your own shadow, you become less afraid of the world's. Every time you face yourself, you stop fearing the judgment of others. So carry them, not as scars to hide, but as medals no one else has. The authority to award you, because the strongest warriors are forged in wars no one else will ever know about. The cost of peace. Peace is not free. It is purchased, and the price is almost never paid in money. It is paid in choices, in sacrifices, in the quiet refusal to let chaos rent space in your mind. Marcus Aurelius knew it. Epictetus lived it. Seneca warned of it. Peace is expensive because it requires giving up the very things your ego clings to. The last word in an argument. The need to prove you're right. The urge to correct someone's false idea about you. Every time you choose peace, you pay with your pride. Every time you choose silence, you pay with your need for recognition. Every time you walk away, you pay with the satisfaction of winning. The fight in front of you. But here's the thing. The fights you forfeit are the weights you drop. The grudges you don't carry are the miles you save. The arguments you let die are the doors you close to endless noise. And what you gain in exchange cannot be bought in any marketplace. Unbroken sleep, uncluttered thoughts, unshakable calm when others lose themselves. The cost of peace is not cheap, but neither is the cost of constant war. Ask yourself, which debt do you want to pay? The debt of regret, owed to every moment you let anger run the show, or the debt of humility, owed to the discipline that kept you from turning life into a battlefield? When you understand this, you stop being shocked by how much you have to give up to be at peace. You stop waiting for peace to be delivered like a gift. You realize you have to buy it every single day with your restraint, your patience, and your willingness to let go. Because peace isn't the absence of storms, it's the mastery of your response to them, and if that costs you your ego, your instinct, satisfaction, and your temporary victories, then it's a price worth paying. The power of less. We live in a world that worships more. More possessions, more status, more followers, more noise. But the Stoics knew a secret. True strength often hides in less. Marcus Aurelius didn't write for applause. Seneca didn't collect more to feel secure. Epictetus, born a slave, knew that freedom had nothing to do with how much you owned, and everything to do with how little owned you. The power of less is this. When you own less, you're owned by less. When you say less, your words carry more weight. When you chase less, you arrive faster. Think about the times your life felt light. It wasn't when you were juggling 1,000 commitments. It wasn't when you were drowning in possessions. It was when you cleared the clutter, physical, mental, emotional, and could finally breathe in. Arguments, less reaction means more control. In conversations, less talking means more listening. In your daily life, less distraction means more direction. The modern world tells you to keep adding. Add experiences, add achievements, add reasons for people to notice you. But every addition is another chain, another thing to maintain, another place where your attention leaks. The Stoics flip the formula. Remove what doesn't serve you, so what remains can serve you fully. Cut the unnecessary, and watch your focus sharpen. Cut the unworthy, and watch your energy multiply. Minimalism is not about deprivation. It's about liberation. It's not about having less. It's about making room for what matters more. The power of less is in the freedom it creates. A clear desk for a clear mind. An empty schedule for a full life. A quiet mind for a loud sense of purpose. When you understand this, you stop asking what can I add, and start asking what can I let go. Because sometimes the most powerful move you can make is not to grab more, but to drop what's been weighing you down. Memento mori. Remember, you will die, not to frighten you, not to depress you, but to wake you up. The Stoics called it memento mori, a reminder that your time is not infinite. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private notes, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. We live as if we have forever. We put off the call we should make today. We save our kindness for when we have time. We delay our dreams until things settle down. But nothing is promised. Not even the next breath. Memento mori strips away the illusion of later. It asks, if this was your last sunrise, would you still scroll mindlessly? If this was your final conversation, would you still waste it on small talk? If this was your last chance, would you spend it chasing approval or living in alignment with your soul? Death isn't the enemy. It's the teacher. It's the great magnifying glass that shows what truly matters. It's the force that shrinks every petty argument, every shallow ambition, into nothing. Knowing you will die makes you speak the words you've been holding back, makes you take the leap you've been postponing, makes you forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to carry bitterness to your grave. Every moment becomes sharper, colors feel deeper, love feels more urgent, and life, finally, feels alive. You stop waiting to live and start living while you can. You stop fearing the end and start fearing a life unlived. So carry memento mori in your pocket, not as a morbid weight, but as a compass. Let it point you toward what matters and away from what doesn't. And when you forget, touch it. When you feel lost, remember it. Because one day, you won't get a second chance, and on that day, you'll either be grateful you lived fully, or wish you had. The final reflection. You've walked through 20. 5 reminders, each a flame from the Stoic torch passed down through centuries. Some burned gently, others seared. But each one was given not to decorate your mind, but to arm your soul from controlling only what you can, to letting go of ego, to remembering you will die. These are not ancient museum pieces. They are living tools, sharp enough to cut through the noise of modern life. You've seen the power of silence, to win without shouting. You've learned the discipline of turning inward, when the world pulls you outward. You've tasted the freedom that comes when you stop needing permission to live. The Stoics were not writing for comfort. They wrote for a battle, not the kind fought with swords, but the one fought daily, inside your mind. Against fear, against vanity, against the endless hunger for more. If you take one thing from this entire journey, let it be this: your life is happening now, not when they finally understand you. Not when things are perfect. Not when you've ticked every box on society's checklist. You can be at peace in the middle of chaos, if you choose. You can live with honor in a world of shortcuts, if you choose. You can walk your path, calm, certain, and shaken. If you choose, the next storm will come. It always does. When it does, you will remember these words. You will stand. You will breathe. You will act with reason, not reaction. You will hold your silence, not your grudge. You will walk away from what drains you and toward what builds you. And when your final day arrives, you will not beg for more time. You will smile, knowing you lived on your terms. So now, it's your turn to carry the torch. Light the way for yourself, and for others still stumbling in the dark. Let them see, not through your arguments, but through your example. If this message reached you, if it cut through the noise, like this video now, drop your own Stoic mantra in the comments. Share this with someone fighting their unseen battle. And subscribe, because in our next video, We'll go even deeper. The utter detachment. How to let go with at losing yourself. Until then, stay calm, stay grounded, stay unshakable. Because the world needs your stillness more than it needs your noise. There is something almost poetic about the way endings feel like beginnings. A conversation closes, but the echo lives on. A sunset fades, but the horizon still pulls you forward. This series may end here, but your practice begins now. We've talked about destroying the old you, but here's the truth. You will destroy yourself many times over. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. And each time, it will hurt. And each time, it will make you stronger. Because the self you are clinging to today will be too small for the life you will grow into tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." And living, real living, is not about chasing endless comfort. It's about standing in discomfort until it no longer owns you. It's about saying no, even when your old self would have said yes out of fear. It's about guarding your time, your energy, your focus, as if they were gold. Because they are. You will be misunderstood. You will be doubted. You will be criticized. And none of that will matter if you remember who you are and what you stand for. The crowd will try to pull you back into noise. But you are not here to be noise. You are here to be signal. You are here to be stillness. You are here to be the reminder, living proof, that strength can be silent and victory can be invisible. So, when you close this video, don't just go back to scrolling. Pause, breathe, choose one reminder from this journey. Just one, and live it out today. Maybe it's say less. Maybe it's care less about what you can't control. Maybe it's remember death and choose life. And when the day ends, you'll see it. The small shift, the subtle power, the truth that you are becoming the person you once thought was out of reach. If this message moved you, let it move through you. Like this video, leave your reflection in the comments. Share it with someone who's ready to shed the old skin they've outgrown. And join us next week when we step into the most challenging territory yet. How to keep your peace when the world is falling apart. Until then, walk your path, not because they understand it, but because it's yours. Stay patient, stay fearless, stay stoic. The final montage, the screen fades to black, and the words appear slowly. Remember, your days are numbered. A slow shot of ocean waves rolling in. A voice speaks. Marcus Aurelius, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Cut to the morning sun breaking over ancient ruins. Epictetus. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. A man walks through fog, his silhouette swallowed in mist. Seneca. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The pace quickens, scenes of life flashing in moments. A child laughing, a soldier walking alone, an old man watching the rain. Marcus Aurelius. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. We see a hand close a leather, bound journal. Epictetus. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. A shot of a fire slowly burning out, embers glowing in the dark. Seneca. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. The voice grows steady, measured, like the heartbeat of the earth. You have heard every reminder. You have walked through the storms. You have seen what happens when you stop reacting and start responding. When you stop explaining and start living. When you stop chasing and start becoming. The world will still be loud tomorrow. It will still pull at you, demand from you, try to own you. But you, now, you are different. You know the stillness inside. You know the strength of the pause. You know that the only battle worth winning is the one within. So, when they provoke you, remember. When they doubt you, remember. When you doubt yourself, remember. You have been here before, and each time you rose higher. The music swells, the final words appear in white over black. Stay patient, stay fierce, stay stoic. Then the call to action burns onto the screen. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Because the next chapter is coming, and you will want to be here when it does.